Have a good day to all. I'm Jimmy with you as always, and today we have another selection of stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Well, we're starting. First story from user Noshin. Let's listen him. So this situation is just all around. So me, 26 male, and my now ex-fiancée, 27 female, had been dating for a little over 4 years when I asked her to marry, and she said, yes. Now here's the problem as we were planning about the new house we were going to buy. I talked to her about a room for my mother, 60s F, as she'd live with us after we got married. I had discussed with her a lot of times when we're dating that my mom would live with us because, simply put, I'm an only child, and my mom raised me as a single mother after she divorced my father. Abuse. She never had a new boyfriend, nor did she ever remarry. Her entire life was dedicated to raising me alone. And also, me and my mom are each other's only living relative. We have no family besides each other. My fiancé said that she did not want my mother living with us, and when I asked about why she didn't say anything when we're dating, she said that she thought I'd get over it and we could put her in a home. And this, I absolutely refused. I was furious because my mom had always treated her as her own daughter and had never been one of those crazy meals that are rude and evil. I gave out an ultimatum that if my mother couldn't live with us, we wouldn't get married. And yeah, we broke up. Now her side of the family and her friends are calling me an asshole. But I don't think I did anything wrong since I made it clear when we were dating that my mother would live with us. So Ada. Author edited the story. I should have mentioned this, but our family has a history of dementia settling in around early 60s. And my mother has started to show signs of forgetfulness. That's why I want to keep her as close as possible. I will be the primary caregiver. She has plenty of savings to cover the cost of her treatment and 2 apartments in her name, one she currently lives and one we have put on rent. After moving her in with me, I will sell one of them and will hire a full-time nurse after her dementia starts getting worse. We were never planning on having children, nor did I ever expect her to quit her job or stay at home to take care of my mother. I understand that it'll be tough, and it should be majorly my responsibility. But she raised me through tough times all on her own, and I will not turn my back on her now that it's my time to help her. My mother has only recently started showing signs of dementia. Up until a few years ago, she was doing just fine. But now her health is slowly starting to deteriorate. We are independently wealthy due to my mother founding and then selling her own company. Money will not be an issue, and I can easily hear help. You all are correct, but my mother living with us is never the only option. I suggested I understand that what I had was a big ask, so I was ready to buy a 2-story home or something like that. But she just wanted to put her in a home and be done with it. Author update the story. So I talked with my mother about the wedding being canceled and why it was happening, and Will got a very tight slap across my face. My mother was disappointed with the idea of my ultimatum, and she felt that I was reducing her down to burden when she wasn't one just yet. It was already stated she'd come live with me and I got married. This was not the way. My mother expected me to handle the situation better. In her words, I'd just be throwing her hard-earned money in a pit because of my own selfishness, and that she did not raise me to be this inconsiderate of my. So she explained things to me and showed me my fiancé's perspective in a much clearer light. She said she did want and expect to live with us, but not for forever, and not that soon after I got married. She also said that she would rather go into a specialized care home where the professionals could handle her should her illness get worse and changes who she is. I contacted my fiancé and we talked, and it was all pretty emotional, but it was all for the better. I apologized for my ultimatum and not seeing her perspective better, and she apologized for what she said and that she was wrong for saying that we could put her in a home. She knew how much my mother meant to me, so she admitted that her insinuating we could just drop her in a home was wrong. I was unwise and naive and could not see beyond my own ideas for our future, which is the worst thing I could have done, especially considering my life is going more than just my own from now. We decided that it's best to buy a house and move my mother in with us, at least for the time being, so we can still spend some time with her while she's somewhat healthy. And when the time comes when taking care of her is beyond us, we will put her in a specialized care unit for people with dementia. close to our home, so we can still visit her, as my mother wants. Though we are still looking into the exact details of this plan, we are both coming out of this better partners for each other. Thought this may take a bit of time. We've also decided to hold off on the wedding and first try to be better partners first, but we are still engaged. Also, we'll be going on a trip around the world soon, so we could live our life as a couple, a bit before my mother moves in. I know there'll be challenges, and I know I'm not prepared to handle everything, but more than anything, if I won't be able to take care of my mother in her final moments, then I at least want to spend some time with her while she's still herself. My mother's diagnosis will be next week. I'm hoping that she's just being forgetful due to her age. But if it's that damned illness, then the possible amount of time with my mother is considerably shortened. Thank you all for your comments. I hope such a situation never comes to any of you. That what I think about this story. Friendly neighborhood hospice nurse chiming in. I realize OP was going to go into this with good intentions, but his wife was 99.98% going to get roped into significant caregiving. His fiancée shouldn't have just changed her mind, but his idea of how caring for his confused mother was gonna go was completely unrealistic. I can't tell you how many angry, practically seething daughter-in-laws I run into on a somewhat daily basis. Let's check the user comment and author answers. Your mother sounds like an amazing person. OP, I say this as a compliment. Your mom is a badass, and I want to be like her when I grow up. She's tough, resilient, loving, wise, and she sounds like the kind of mom who means it. She says she just wants her children to be happy. That last point is something that a lot of parents say, but a lot of them also attach strings to it. For example, I just want my kids to be happy as long as they become a lawyer, a surgeon, or a broker in real estate or finances. I just want my kids to be happy as long as they marry someone who meets my standards because I know what's best for my children. I'm so glad that you were able to really take in what your mom said about your fiancé's perspective and that both of you were able to set aside your hurt feelings or pride so that you could have a really open, honest, and vulnerable conversation. I would suggest couples counseling because it can help you both learn how to better communicate with each other and learn to develop compromises that truly meet each of your needs without resentment. People grow and evolve over time, so marriage, or really any relationship, takes a lot of work and a lot of people wait until there's a problem to get counseling. But if you think of it as maintenance to keep it going smoothly, it can help you prevent issues from snowballing into that big problem. It sounds like you guys have a stable foundation when you communicate openly, so counseling can help you strengthen it and build upon it. Enjoy this time with your mom and with your fiancé. There's no rush to get married. You're already committed to each other. Just focus on keeping those relationships happy and healthy. Second story from the user IToBaby. Let's listen. This is a throwaway. Due to some personal info on this post, I don't want being linked back to my main. Long story short, my 28 male wife, 28 female, is estranged from her family and has been since a teenager. She met Ava as in school, and they were inseparable with Eva letting my wife stay over a lot, as well as providing a constant source of support. I met my wife at university. Unfortunately, Eva died suddenly a year into our relationship. I had met her a few times, and she was lovely. My wife was understandably devastated. 2 years ago, we married and she took my last name, Brown. Our baby girl is due in the spring and, understandably, my wife wants to honor Eva in her name. This is something that she has said throughout the relationship. I was happy with the idea of honoring her, and we have discussed baby names throughout the relationship and pregnancy. The leading name we were tossing about was a place name that had significant memories to them. Yesterday she came up to me and said that she had a dream about Eva asking her to remember her by her name. She had some like this around the time Eva died, but none recently to my knowledge. And to memorialize her, our baby must be called Eva. I said absolutely no way. She said why not, and I reminded her of the historical figure, Eva Braun, pronounced Brown, wife of probably one of history's most evil figures, and reassured her that we will tell our kids about Aunt Eva, and she'll always be remembered. But my wife refused, saying it has to be her name. She says few will make the link to the historical character, and she won't be bullied at school. She said she had fell out with the place name, and a family member has had a baby recently with a similar name. Think Brooke to Brooklyn. I suggested things to do with Eva, such as her birthstone, or honoring her through a middle name, or even names that had Eve, Eva in. Anything but Eva itself. She started crying and said that she won't name the baby anything else, and it's the ultimate way Eva can live on. I said it's a shitty situation, and if we had literally any other surname we would, but I literally can't. Not only am I extremely morally opposed, I work in a field where if there was wind that I named my child Eva Brown, my work could be at risk. She's saying I'm making excuses and not supporting her as she is putting in a lot of effort to having this baby. This resulted in a fight, and now I am on the couch for the second night now. Some of our friends are saying I'm being dramatic, but my sister, the mother of Brooke, is telling me that if she continues to register the baby without her. To be honest, I'm leaning that way if she continues not to compromise. I'm really not sure what to do. Aida for not wanting to name my baby Eva? Author update this story. Hi all, it's been a while, and I didn't realize I was still logged into this account. I didn't expect my AI to post to blow up so much, and I'd like to thank you all for your comments. They really gave me food for thought. Well, soon after posting, I called up Eva's sister, Rose, as my wife, Lou, is really close to her and explained the situation. I know I shouldn't get people involved in marital matters, but Rose's opinion really matters to Lou, especially when Eva is involved. Rose agreed with me that naming a daughter Eva Brown would be harmful, and she mentioned something that we believed to be a game changer. One thing you must know about the late Eva, dear reader, was that she was a writer. She kept journals, which her sister held onto after her death. In one of these journals was a baby name list, where she gave 5 names for a girl and 5 names for a boy. Rose held onto these names when she was having children. One of her sons is named the top boy name. But she is done now and wants to give it to my wife. But we believed we have to introduce this carefully, so we launched a game plan. The next day, I sat down with Lou and said on no uncertain terms would our daughter be called Eva. Brown is the only surname we have, and Eva is not something I'd feel comfortable pairing with it. As I mentioned in comments, my wife is estranged from her family and often jokes that we got married so young, at 22, so she could get rid of her maiden name. She agreed that our child will take our married name, but continued to stress about forgetting Eva. I also mentioned that by naming a child Eva, you'd be pressuring that child to live on for dead Eva, and that's a big burden for young shoulders. My cousin was named after a dead relative, and my grandparents often compared him to that relative, and that's not something I want for my own child. That seemed to resonate, and she admitted that pregnancy was bringing up old feelings, as she and Eva always said that they'd be pregnant together. I suggested therapy, and she started therapy last week. I then talked about mine and Rose's conversation, and she was very interested. We agreed that it would be lovely giving Eva the opportunity to name a child, knowing it was something she was seemingly passionate about, and have narrowed it down between 2 of the 5 girl names. Turns out the girl had taste. Being able to discuss baby names and thinking about our daughter as her own person has been a blessing, and I can see my wife is on the mends. I think this will be the only update, and I can't wait to meet my daughter. Thank you all for your help. What I think about this story. The combination of grief for the loss of her friend and pregnancy hormones made Lou adamant that she honor Eva by naming her daughter after her. Bless Rose for giving OP an excellent third option to honor Eva that he and Lou can agree on. Thanks to everyone who was with us today. Unfortunately, that's all for today, but I'll come back to you tomorrow with new stories. Thank you for being there. Bye-bye.